Hello Scorpio, welcome to my channel and welcome to your December 2023 Tarotscope. It is an absolute blessing to be here with you, so thank you for joining me. In the description box below, you will find links to information on personal readings, information on the Soul Good membership channel on Telegram, and information on donations if you would like to explore any of those options. However, no pressure at all. There's also a timestamp in the description box if you would like to jump to the start of your reading. However, do keep in mind that this is a collective reading, not a personal reading, so use your discernment and take only what resonates with you and leave the rest. You may want to check out your Sun, Moon, and Rising Tarotscopes for deeper insights to your month. December is a universal 1 month, which means as we close out 2023, a new cycle begins. This happens about every 9 years and does give us an invitation to get a head start or a leg up on what might unfold as we move forward. The number 1 resonates with energies and attributes of new beginnings, instinct and intuition, creation, inspiration, uniqueness, action, motivation, self-leadership and self-empowerment, positivity, and creating our own realities. This is what we're going to be diving into for this month's Tarotscope, looking at your overall energy, what wants to be created through or for you, though this does not have to be physical, what challenges this might present, and getting some advice that will best support and serve you moving forward. Before we dive in, I will say, Scorpio, that a lot of the Tarotscopes that I've done thus far have really aligned with that energy of self-empowerment and creating our own realities through new beginnings. But I feel like it's more about laying the foundation and planting seeds for that new beginning. All right, so just a little heads up. Let's dive in and see what December is bringing for you. Please, Father, Mother, Life, Universe, Spirits, Guides, Angels, our cosmic team, our ancestors, our higher selves, what is the overall energy for December 2023 for Scorpio, please? Tell us about, okay, thank you, interesting. Tell us, please, what wants to be created through or for Scorpio? Okay. Tell us, please, what challenges will this present for Scorpio? Okay, thank you. Tell us, please, okay, there's your advice. What else do we need to know, please, about the overall energy of December? Thank you. What else do we need to know, please, about what wants to be created through or for Scorpio? Thank you. What challenges? Yep, okay. Yeah, all right. And what advice will best support and serve? Okay. This way. Interesting. Okay. Anything else that we need to know or may have missed, please, for, there it is. Thank you. Anything else we need to know or may have missed, please, about what wants to be created? There we are. Thank you. Anything else? All right. Thank you. Anything else we need to know or may have missed, please, in regards to the overall advice that will best support and serve Scorpio this month and moving forward? All right. Okay, Scorpio, the overall energy for you for this month, you do have here the ever unfolding rose cracked open. It's happening for you, not to you. What I find to be, first of all, really fascinating about this is that in Libra's reading, they had the same card in the exact same position. So if you do have Libra as one of your big three, your sun, moon, or rising, or If you have a lot of Libra in your chart, you may want to watch that reading as well. But I do feel as though I do feel like the energy is more about cracking you open. It's quite fascinating actually. I don't feel so much that you would necessarily, now this may not be true for everyone, I don't know that you would necessarily sink into the energy of it happening to you. Again, that may not resonate with everyone. Um, how do I say this? It's interesting because with Libra, it felt like there could be things going on externally that felt as though they were falling apart. And that could be very overwhelming for them. However, it doesn't feel so much like this with you. This feels more about cracking you open internally, okay? Like really trying to connect you with you. That's more of what this feels like. I do feel like if you were someone who would kind of take this and run with it, let's say, if it does resonate with you, I feel like that would overflow into your external reality, certainly as above, so below, as within, so without. So it kind of goes without saying, but it feels as though there's almost this need to create a deeper connection with self, which again, I find to be quite fascinating because Scorpio, you guys tend to be pretty deep. And, I don't know that you necessarily would, how do I say? I don't know that many would jump to the conclusion if they are aware of Scorpio energy, or even perhaps just you as an individual would jump to this like you don't really know yourself type of thing, or you don't really get deep with yourself. But it feels like when you get into touch with your feelings or whatever it is you may be going through at any given moment, there are times rather that I feel like it, how do I say? It's like if this is the depth of you, right? I feel like you sit right here. I hope that makes sense. Because I'm kind of seeing it as like not really delving deep within the truths of your being and like understanding why you feel the way you do about certain things, or why things affect you the way that they do, or where it's coming from, especially if you're someone who has, wounding trauma programming, which I mean, most of us do. So there's that, but I feel like there's this energy of really understanding your inner workings at a deeper level. You know what I'm saying? Opening up or expanding on perhaps your capacity to delve incredibly deep. Again, I find this to be really interesting just based on what I know of your energy in general. But I do feel like this is trying to crack you open to really get you out of your shell, to really get you comfortable in your own skin, to really get you um, more comfortable with being or feeling vulnerable or exposed or intimate, even. And I don't mean that from a physical perspective, okay? I mean that from an emotional perspective, a mental perspective. I feel like there are many people who may claim to know you. However, I don't know that they know you deeply, right? As a matter of fact, I feel like there's a good possibility that those same people who might claim to know you um, may often find themselves saying things like, I don't know why Scorpio does what Scorpio does. You know what I'm saying? Or like, would you just, almost this energy of like, would you make up your mind? Would you, say what you mean, or just come out with it, or, something like that. I mean, don't get me wrong, okay? Don't get me wrong, Scorpio. I understand that being ruled by Pluto is kind of more of like the hidden, the secrets, those kinds of things. So there is an element of secrecy, let's say, that does kind of accompany your energy. But I feel as though it's again, forgive me, but it's fascinating because it's like it's almost like you won't even go there with yourself. Does that make sense? And again, I feel like this is what is trying to take place for you, or this is where the overall energy is sitting, encouraging you to do that. Um, you know, and here's the thing. I feel like if you can come to a place, Scorpio, if this resonates with you, right, where you don't fear your own depth, um, I feel like that self-empowerment energy that I was talking about, it could really be heightened. It could really be taken to the next level, right? So how do I mean, because when we're comfortable with ourselves, we don't have a lot of fear. You know what I'm saying? There's not a lot of resistance there. So again, take that how it resonates, but that's how I'm seeing this. And again, I do feel like if you're somebody who decides to embark on this pursuit, then you may find this overflowing into your external relationships. You could create much deeper connections with those that have, that you care for, that you love, that means something to you. They could feel as though they know you much better. They could feel that you have, again, like you have this deeper connection, right? Take it as it resonates. Um, and I feel like it's happening for you, not to you. Again, I don't feel like it's so much about this overwhelm, if you will, of these things taking place in your external reality where you feel like overwhelmed, or things are turbulent or chaotic, or um, even in a state of like upheaval, for example. Again, though that could be true, this is a collective reading after all. I feel like if for some reason there's difficulty in relationships, this could be where this comes from. And oftentimes, our relationships, especially the ones that have a lot of weight for us or a lot of meaning to us, they tend to reflect back to us something about ourselves, whether that be good, bad, ugly, everything in between. They tend to act as like a mirror, right? Again, as within, so without. Um, so if you are experiencing that, there's a need to understand that this is happening to show you something about yourself. Okay? We have here for you, wow, the Emperor. Yeah, so here's the thing. I find that this is so fascinating to me because it is this energy of, I want power over myself. Does that make sense? It's really, it's not something I would that I've typically got with this card, but it's this almost this energy of wanting to be again. It's like all I can feel is this: I want to control what comes out of me and what comes in, right? Like what I express, what I release, what I allow people to see, and what I allow to, let's see, like influence me. There's this almost this I don't know how to explain it. It's this kind of rigidness, if you will, um, towards yourself. I feel like if this is for you, you're already gonna know what I'm talking about because it's pretty specific. Um, it's it is like wanting to have this almost like hyper control over self, or like an uncompromising boundary with yourself. It's fascinating to me. If and again, it's not something that I've ever really picked up on with this card, right? And I do feel like this is speaking to that self-empowerment energy that I'm picking up on, because the Emperor is a representation of Aries in the tarot, and both of these energies are very like assertive. They're direct, a little bit, how would you say, like fearless, very independent, very like this is what it is, right? And it being in the reverse is speaking to me for you about this, almost this holding things within, this inability, if you will, or struggle to assert yourself. Okay, I hope this makes sense. And it's bringing through this almost this like possessive energy over self, right? Being very selective and very careful about who sees what, who hears what, who sees the depths of you. And again, I don't know that it's necessarily incredibly deep at that. Okay. You also have here crown chakra upgrade, divine connection, holy experiences, miraculous energy. What a fascinating follow up to what I've just been speaking on. It kind of feels out of place. I'm going to be real, but there's also a small part of this that makes sense right off the cuff, and that is, again, there's this almost resistance between you and the depths of who you are, which at the depths of who you are, Scorpio, is your soul, right? It is your divinity. Okay. It is God within you. It is Christ within you. It is, that holy energy, or again, that divine energy within you. And so if you are someone who, isn't allowing yourself to access that, it would create a sense of disconnect or separation. And I feel as though part of this cracking you open, which, I mean, to be honest, I have like full body chills right now talking about this. But I feel like a lot of what's come through, I shouldn't say a lot. There have been many Tarotscopes that have been in this energy this month of really God wanting to establish this stronger connection, right? And sometimes it comes through as, God or Christ or the angels, and sometimes it comes through more as like intuition and spirituality. But I feel like in this case, it feels more like God, more like Christ, more like connecting with that divinity within yourself, right? And maybe you don't call it God, maybe you call it something else. That's perfect. That's perfectly fine. I call it God, so that's the term I'm going to use. But, insert word here, whatever you resonate with. I just feel like there is this desire from creator, from source, that wants to create a connection with you. And you may have even been exposed to this or experiencing this, at various points, right? Maybe there's been points where you've been called to certain scriptures or called to certain songs or movies or shows or literature or whatever, that has that connection. Maybe there have been people in your life who have have been trying to get you to talk about God or something, right? I just feel like there could be some of these things showing up for you already. And again, I feel like it's to create that connection. There's also this energy here of establishing that or nurturing that should you choose to do, should you choose to do so. I feel like you could have these incredible experiences, because here's the thing, Scorpio, you are a water energy, right? I probably don't need to tell you that. But that water energy is very intuitive, very, very spiritual in its nature, right? And there is that, I feel, if it's not resisted, that communication, let's say, with that which we cannot see. So, the angelic hierarchies, the spiritual hierarchies, Christ energy, God, you may find it actually just flowing through you. And it really could potentially, create these miraculous situations. That's not to say that like all your prayers will be answered. I don't want to, preach any false hope or anything of that nature. But I feel as though the way that maybe it just within your own being, the way that you feel, the way that you experience life and yourself and your external reality, people around you, could feel incredibly different, because there's not that disconnect. So, I mean, of course, take it as it resonates. I cannot stress that enough. But again, I do feel like there's this desire to create that connection with you, which to be quite honest, I feel that it's incredibly beautiful. It speaks to how loved you are, how much you matter, how valuable you are, how valuable that connection is, right? And I just want to say as well, and I kind of give this disclaimer, and anytime these kinds of energies come up, I'm not speaking on this from a dogmatic religious perspective. Okay. Though if that's your game, or that's your cup of tea, that's all well and good. No judgment here, right? We're all entitled to our own beliefs and to follow whatever practices work best for us. But from my perspective, that's not where I'm sharing this from. Okay. This is coming more from an esoteric Christianity perspective. Okay. I've been delving into, probably over the past, oh gosh, like 8 months or so, the work of Rudolf Steiner, and this is where that's coming from. So again, take what resonates, leave what doesn't. I actually want to just read to you the message from the guidebook for this card. Oh, I opened it like literally right to the page. That's wild. Everything happens for a reason. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and read this to you. Okay. It says here, your crown chakra has been upgraded. The spiritual connections you have always had are now being acknowledged. The parts of yourself that you have run from or ignored are being reclaimed. This is an important time, for you are uncovering gifts and wisdom and moving through healing. You may have experienced moments that have tested your faith and belief in the divine. Know that it's okay, and no grievances are being held against you. The Holy Spirit is with you and within you. Full body chills, by the way. This is a coming home to your truest self. Yes, and that's exactly the energy I was picking up on. 22 on the clock. That number may be incredibly important for you, but it does speak to balance and partnerships and the choice that you have, of whether or not this is something you want to pursue. You are also being encouraged to prepare yourself for miracles. Expect to experience wonder and blessings, for you are being surrounded by healing light. Divine encounters and holy experiences are happening around you. If you have had a challenging relationship with spirituality or religion in the past, this has now been healed and you can move forward in an authentic way, experiencing the divine on a personal level and beyond the limitations of unnecessary dogma. You are connected. Yeah, absolutely picking up all of that energy with this card. And, just to give you a little bit on that crown chakra, okay? When it is open or more balanced, okay, it's wise and clear and sits in this space of universal love. It does represent states of higher consciousness and, again, that divine connection. And then when it's, again, kind of more blocked or is imbalanced, there's often this kind of high level of cynicism, disregarding what is sacred, having like a closed-minded perspective, of course, that disconnection with spirit. And sometimes those who are experiencing a block here can even be fearful, and suggestible, and for some can have lack of boundaries, though I don't necessarily feel like that's the case with you. Maybe you are someone who struggles with boundaries in the sense that how do I say? I did pick up on this energy of perhaps struggling with asserting yourself, and so you may struggle with boundaries there, like somebody tells you to do something or asks you to do something, and maybe you struggle with saying no. So there may be that, but this seems to be the overall energy for you this month. And again, should you pursue that, I feel like there could be some pretty interesting things that take place for you. So, what wants to be created through or for you, Scorpio? Yeah, again, Libra had this exact same card in this exact same position. So, again, if you have Libra in your chart anywhere, you may want to check that out. So it does say awakening, energetic upgrades, a new way of being, and integration. Yeah, I do feel like the energy does want to create that awakening to your own divinity. And what's fascinating to me is that it's coming through as almost that deep reverence for self once one does awake to their divinity. It's a very interesting thing that happens, because you start to see yourself in a different light. And so I do feel like that's something that wants to be created through you. And I think it's fascinating as all get out that you have crown chakra upgrade and then you follow with energetic upgrades. So I do feel that there are things taking place, let's say behind the scenes, that is encouraging this for you. And that new way of being, I feel like it wants to pull you or create that comfort within yourself, that ability to experience life from that perspective of holding that divinity within you, of being that deeply connected with yourself and having that deep reverence for yourself, that deep love for yourself that comes from that connection with your inner self, your soul. I feel like these are things that want to be integrated for you, again, to bring through this more colorful experience, let's say, right? Because then there's that interconnectedness with everything around you as you start to open up to your divinity within. Okay, so I feel like this is meant to lift you higher, right? To raise your frequency, to get you into higher states of being, thinking, processing, feeling, right? We do have here Two of Pentacles. Yeah, and I feel like, so it's very fascinating to me, Scorpio, because I feel like part of this is bringing more balance into your experience, as the Two of Pentacles and twos in general can be, right? We did see 22 on the timer for you, so I don't think that's an accident by any means. And if you are someone who's seeing repeating twos, not only do I feel like it's speaking to bringing in more balance between your I feel like this is incredibly multi-layered, but not only bringing more balance to, let's say, your physical self, your spiritual self, your emotional self, your mental self, bringing balance to all these areas. I feel as though it's also speaking to that partnership that is created with the divine, with the angels, with God, with Christ, right? Again, however it resonates with you. But on a deeper level, even, I'm being reminded of the High Priestess in the tarot, which is also the number 2. And that is that inner voice, that intuition, that divine truth and wisdom that comes through our being, right? That maybe can't be explained, literally or physically. It's that kind of, let's say, opening up to the mystery of spirit in some sense. But to dive deeper into this Two of Pentacles, I feel as though this is really asking for you to be flexible. Again, I got this energy of being kind of rigid or uncompromising. And I feel that this Two of Pentacles is asking you to be flexible and asking you to explore the many facets of yourself. The reason why I've come to this is because there's this purse here, or this bag, or whatever it is she's holding, that's very solid, very like worldly. And she has this other here that's like wrapped around her arm, you can see, and it's less physical. It's not physical at all, as a matter of fact, right? It's transparent. So I feel like it's, juggling or bringing more balance into these areas of your reality, right? Bringing forth more of that spiritual self, balancing that with the physical world. Okay. And again, and This has been a repetitive message in several of the Tarotscopes for this month. Okay, so again, take that how it resonates, but I feel like this is what wants to be created. We have here for you as well Octurian light codes, evolutionary downloads, recalling power, there it is, and future thinking. So, I mean, it's fascinating AF because we have these upgrades and now we have downloads. And so I just feel like there's like this plethora of wisdom and information and connection that wants to be established, that wants to find, let's say, its home within you, right? And I feel like there are things working in your favor if this is something you want to pursue, right? But it is going to take like your active participation. It is going to take you deciding or stepping into the role as a co-creator, as a divine being yourself, one that houses a soul, right? Your connection to God and source and the universe. It's going to take that choice from you, and twos are also about choices, right? And then again, with the recalling power, like that self-empowerment energy was coming through heavy from the get. I really, yeah, I mean, that was something I picked up before we even got into the cards. So I do feel that the whole point is for you to be able to recall your power or reclaim your power by stepping back into your divinity, by recognizing that within yourself. And I do feel, at least in my experience, that doing so, because I was somebody who believed in something bigger than myself, but really struggled with the whole concept of God, an all punishing God who sits in the sky and points his finger. Again, no judgment, it's just my perspective. I really struggled with that. And over the past couple of years, God has really worked through my experience to bring me closer to it. And now my perspectives have completely changed. So, and through that, there does come this sense of power. Through that, there does come this sense of liberation or freedom as well, which is also empowering, right? So again, take that as it resonates, but I feel like this is how this is showing up for you, and what wants to be created through you is the ability to be empowered, to again feel more comfortable in your own skin through that power. And it's not the same kind of power that's here. Okay, it's not forceful, right? It's not the same. So again, take that how it resonates. Let's take a look at what challenges, that this may present for you. We do have Imrama, where are you being called to journey to? And the thing about this card is that there are times that it does speak to, being called to a physical place, and that may be true for you. And perhaps that does present challenges in itself. But I feel more so that this is speaking to that journey within. Because here's the thing, Scorpio, it is difficult to take that journey. It is difficult to delve deep within self and to face one's darkness. And that goes for anybody, truly. So, getting into the mud and the muck of your being, shining a light in the corners and closets and under the bed, if you will, is a challenge. It's scary. Okay, and a lot of people would rather not because there's a lot that you can find there, right? Especially in regards to yourself. There comes a lot of responsibility and accountability for that, because once you see it, you can't unsee it, right? So I do feel like this could present challenge for you, right? And even in this card here, there's lots of water. So again, I feel like it's journeying to the depths of yourself. And this is on the back of the card here is Petra in Jordan, which that to get to that site, you actually have to there's like a path between this, I don't know if it's mountains or there's a word for it, I just can't think of it right now. But you actually have to like journey, deep into the rock, let's say, to get there. And I feel like this is also speaking about this cracked open energy, right? Where it's like you've got to be willing to go beyond that rocky surface or that hard surface to get what is waiting for you, or to tap into what is trying to be created for you. Ooh, we do have the wheel in the reverse. So first of all, let me start off by saying this is the number 10, as you can see. And that 10 energy, regardless of what position it's in, is one of completing cycles. It is one of renewal. It is one of moving forward, right? So even if it's in the reverse, it still is indicative of that ability to step into a new way of being. Okay, but again, we're looking at this from a challenge, so do keep that in mind. And I feel like the challenge here is not clinging to control. The challenge here is surrendering. The challenge here is, again, surrendering control, right? That lack of control, when, if you can see her, she's got her arms open, right? So that lack of control that comes with being vulnerable, I really hope this is making sense. And that feeling of helplessness when you do surrender, which I mean is fair. That's a fear that many of us face, and surrendering is an incredible challenge for most people. So you're not alone in this, all right? But I feel like the challenge comes from that desire to want to control things, to want to be able to call the shots, let's say. And if you surrender and allow yourself to dive deep, it's kind of like anything goes. And I feel like this is where the challenge comes from. But again, there is that opportunity for you to step into a new way of being. Again, also scary. We do have the Seven of Wands here. So yeah, lowering your defenses. That's the hard part. I'm just going to be real, allowing yourself to, drop your guard. That is absolutely what I'm picking up here. And to have faith. Sevens can be about faith. And I feel like, surrendering that control, or giving it up and having faith and dropping your defenses, I feel like this is the challenge, because I feel like you'd rather maintain that control, which is also Seven of Wands energy. Okay. Oh, yes, you do have the Magician here as well. So some big major arcana, but here's the thing about the Magician, which is fascinating. It is the one energy. And when we look at that one energy, that is that new beginning, that new way of being, that opportunity, that potential. The one, or the Magician rather, is essentially having everything you need to succeed and to essentially activate the magic within you, right? By focusing your willpower, desire, and actions to create your reality or shape your reality. And that's all four of the elements, okay? Okay, so I feel like in addition to this Magician energy, so it can be as well connected with power, right? Recognizing your own power, recognizing again that you have everything you need within you. It is not something that comes externally, right? And so I feel that another part of this challenge for you, Scorpio, is allowing yourself to access the power that you hold within, right? Utilizing that, focusing it. Yeah, on a very simple level, if you will, though I know that this is not simple, just to explain it very simply, I feel like the challenge for you is that belief or the recognition of that power that you hold within, to be a co-creator, to recognize that divinity within you, the magic within you, right? Allowing yourself to be open to it, to utilize it, to step into it at all. But again, it's funny or interesting. I just say it's funny that it goes from 10 to 1, right? An ending to a beginning. So, again, I feel like another part of that challenge is literally stepping out of one way of being and into another, right? One where you have or feel maybe that you have control over things, though I think it's important to add that the things that we think we have control over, the things that we tuck away in the closet or under the rug or whatever you want to call it, tend to control things from the background, and they rear their ugly head in moments that we least expect it. So I do feel like there's a need to bring that forward into your awareness if you aren't already aware of that. And to say, I feel like releasing that control and harnessing your own power, right? Stepping out of that way of being and into this one is in itself the challenge, or part of the challenge. We have here the King of Wands. And I feel like this is not having these impossible expectations over yourself, right? That, for example, so there's one perspective or an energy that's coming in here that's this false belief that there is the ability to, or this impossible expectation, if you will, that there's this ability to control all the things. Okay, I don't know. It's interesting because that's more of a King of Wands in reverse type of energy, or shadow type of energy, but I feel it coming through. This is that leader energy, and essentially taking the lead over your own life and choosing these things for yourself. And I feel like this is being bold, right? I feel like this is where this energy is coming in, and I feel like that's part of the challenge, is seeing things from a bigger picture, right? Again, there's kind of this energy of maybe being a little bit more in the physical, wanting kind of this hard control, if you will, over things. But I feel as though there's the challenge of seeing things from a bigger picture, really kind of zooming out and recognizing where maybe you've placed these expectations on yourself that aren't sustainable, or are what some might call impossible to maintain or achieve. And again, there's that energy of being bold or being the leader and overcoming the challenge of, let's say, fear, right? Overcoming or facing your fears and being kind of bold, or being the authority in your own life, but not from a rigid perspective, not where there's this, unwavering or uncompromising kind of force, right? I hope this makes sense. We also have the sun in the reverse as well. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4 major arcana out here for you, which says to me that what you may be experiencing throughout December, Scorpio, is opportunity for incredible change, transformation, because the major arcana is our journey of ourself through the mystery of ourself, right? And it's through each of these cards, or rather each of these cards represent a certain space in that journey. And you have, you start near the top here. We have the Emperor, the Magician, and then we move more towards the bottom, if you will, with the Wheel and the Sun. So I find that to be really, really interesting. But with the sun in reverse, I feel like, again, part of the challenge is to get out of that more like negative energy to um to not sink into a more, let's say, depressive or closed off kind of state, a dark kind of state. I feel like another part of that is to, how do I say, to allow yourself to see the good things in life. For some of you, maybe that's why there's this kind of rocky or tough exterior, especially when it comes to, that more divine aspect or God, perhaps. I mean, that's come through a bit, anyways. So, that may be something to look more deeply into, and maybe something that's presenting a challenge, right? Where maybe you kind of do struggle to see the good in life. Maybe it is kind of difficult to sink deeply into happiness or joy. Um, you know, Maybe it can be difficult to see that dawn after the dark night, as it were. So I feel like this could be the challenge for you, is stepping into the light. Maybe you've spent a lot of time in darkness. Maybe you've experienced a lot of darkness, Scorpio. And, this could be where this challenge comes from. Maybe you kind of have how would I say, this energy of, you know, what is the word? Like a cynical, maybe, way of looking at things, right? Or something of that nature. Um, but I do find it to be really fascinating that the King of Wands and the Sun are connected with Leo energy. So you may have Leo in your chart as well. But I feel more than anything, it's about that, first of all, that heart chakra, or opening your heart to yourself. I also feel like it's a lot about that inner strength and that courage, really tapping into that courage, really tapping into inner strength and allowing it to support you. Okay, so seeing past the darkness, seeing the ability to overcome challenges, looking to the light, right? Allowing that to be a more guiding force for you, that you can reach success, let's say. Achieve greatness within yourself. And I don't mean that, from like a status level on the material or physical plane. I mean that more of success within, right? I hope that makes sense. Um, so I feel like those could be your challenges. You also have here Merkaba activation, transcendence, ascension. You are rising up. So interesting, because you have awakening and ascension, which are go hand in hand. And I feel as though, again, this is part of the challenge, is transcending perhaps a more negative way of thinking and being, transcending the need for control, right? Rising above it, again, seeing the bigger picture, rising up, letting yourself come up out of the darkness. I feel like this is the challenge. Opening yourself up to that, allowing that to be activated within you. I do want to read, oh my gosh, I did it again, right open to the page. Wild. I'm going to go ahead and read this as well for you. And I just want to touch on the Merkaba, and in the case that maybe some listening don't really know what that is. It says here, Mer means light, Ka means spirit. Well, in ancient Egyptian, pardon me, Mer means light, Ka means spirit, and Ba means body. When these three words are put together, the idea is that light engulfs the spirit and body, and there is an opportunity to rise up. What is light? Well, light is light that we see, of course, but it is also wisdom, truth, love, knowledge. It is also, for me, in many ways, God. Okay. And so this says here, in modern spirituality, the Merkaba is acknowledged as the light body or the vehicle we can activate for the ascension process. It has been said that it is surrounded by an 8-pointed star, and when we're aligned on a spiritual level, oh, pardon me, surrounded by an 8-pointed star tetrahedron, and when we're aligned on a spiritual level, the star spins at great speed, creating a sphere of unbreakable light around us. This sphere of light can help us move between the dimensions. While we are having a human experience, it creates a portal into the divine matrix so that we can connect with guidance and walk the path of light. You are raising your vibration and becoming magnetic to the presence of pardon me. Good golly, let me start that again. You are raising your vibration and becoming magnetic to the presence and wisdom of light. You are in a space of ascension. The ascension process isn't about leaving this incarnation or dimension, but about finding harmony within it. All of the attention, love, and care you have been giving to your body are supporting your spiritual journey. A powerful gateway of light is surrounding you now, allowing you to connect with the divine matrix of ancient wisdom. It's important for you to be aware of the information, energy, and downloads you are receiving, for all that's coming through is supporting your expansion. You are moving up a level. It's time to fly high. And what I find to be just quite synchronistic is that the Two of Pentacles can be about priorities. And I do feel like part of this is prioritizing yourself. Right? Like I said earlier, some of you may struggle with boundaries where people ask you to do something or be somewhere or whatever it is, and you're like, yeah, okay. Right? Without asserting what it is you really want. And, here it says all of the attention, love, and care you have been giving to your body are supporting your spiritual journey. And so I do feel like part of the challenge is turning that focus within, which goes without saying based on everything that's come through. But I feel like it's just highlighting that. Okay. And if this resonates with you, you may want to, and I would encourage you to do your own research on the Merkaba. And, perhaps you will learn more there that could be relevant to your own journey. The advice to best support and serve you moving forward, Scorpio. Transformation. Things are changing at a cellular level and deep healing. I do feel like for you, transformation, there's a sense of fear. And I don't know why I'm getting this, okay? Maybe it's for somebody specific, but based on that kind of desire for control or desire to maintain control energy, you may be somebody who doesn't really like change or maybe isn't very fond of change, which I think is just mind-blowing in itself based on the fact that Scorpio is ruled by Pluto, which is of course transformation and death and rebirth and evolution. But I feel like the advice is showing up in this way because I feel like the whole point is for you to get back to you, for you to get comfortable with you. And, as that energy of, or that sign that carries these energies of transformation and death and rebirth, evolution, and of course, Pluto also symbolizes power. I feel like the whole point is to get you back to you, right? To allow yourself to transform into who you actually are, right? And perhaps for some of you, like I was saying, there is a need for deep healing, right? Especially if you have wounding, which has come up as well around, spirituality or religion. I think that's wild. But I love that it's coming through, and I'm saying simple, though I know it's not simple. Okay, transformation rarely is. But I feel that, the advice is to allow yourself this opportunity, right? To allow yourself to die and be reborn, to metamorphosis. into something else, which I feel that something else is, where you may be more tapped into your own power, your true potential, right? And again, not like a hard control power, but just the power that you carry within you to create your own reality, right? The power within you as a divine being. Meaning that even if someone gets to your depths, let's say you've been vulnerable, you've been open, you've been intimate, and let's say someone gets to your depths, it's not going to, tear your whole world apart if they, come in with their own muddy boots, let's say, right? If they come in and create havoc, or, come in and see things and then, throw it in your face, or I don't know, whatever the story is. People can be really mean, right? If that were to happen, it's not going to completely, destroy you, but rather you have that power to navigate it. There is this confidence and, authority over oneself where you don't have to let that impact you. You play the observer. Okay, I hope this makes sense. You do have here the Seven of Pentacles, so another seven. Again, I feel like faith is something that, is encouraged here for you. Of course, you don't have to do anything. It's your choice. But with the Seven of Pentacles in reverse, this is an energy of essentially, how do I say? Yeah, if you want the rewards, you got to do the work. If you want things to change, you've got to have the patience, right? You've got to be willing to be diligent and to persevere, to have faith. I really feel like this is what this is speaking to, right? You've got to allow yourself to be focused, to not be distracted by what makes you uncomfortable, and just nurture your own transformation. Page of Swords here as well. I feel like there are things within you, like I was speaking on this untapped potential. I do feel like there are things that are within you that you are meant to be sharing with the planet, with the collective, with your community, with, your surroundings. There's an impact, I feel, that you are meant to make on the world. And, I feel as though there's this energy of, how do I say, not deceiving or manipulating yourself into thinking, for whatever reason, that you are not, you don't carry that value. It's a very interesting energy that's coming through, but I feel like you have ideas to share. You have things to accomplish, curiosities to explore. And there's something within you that I feel you could potentially tap into and share with the world, but I feel like it is going to take you essentially getting very curious and open about yourself, right? Exploring. So the Page of Swords here, again, it's that knowledge into wisdom, right? If you can tell, she has that book in her hand and then there are light bulbs here. It's like turning that knowledge into wisdom. And so, I do feel that this is part of the advice for you, is to do exactly that, to take what you learn and turn it into wisdom. Because again, I feel like there's something within you that may want to be shared. And maybe that's not for everyone, but it just feels like as soon as I saw those light bulbs, to me, it was like bringing ideas out of your mind and to others. I don't know what this is about, but you also have the Arcturian light codes, and from what I understand, that is a more forward thinking, if you will, energy. So I feel like there's something within you that wants to be developed, or expressed. And I also feel that there is this advice to not sink into your anxiety, right? To not manipulate yourself into and like talk yourself out of diving deep, right? Because I feel like if you sink into your anxiety, it could probably do that. if you gave way to it. It could probably talk you out of it, right? Um, it could probably talk you out of all the work that it's going to take to really, clean house, if you will, or to dive deep into the depths of yourself, to explore your own darkness, to open yourself up. I feel like you could probably talk yourself out of it, or deceive yourself, or manipulate yourself into not doing that. And so I feel, the advice here is for you to be open, if you can, and if you're willing to, be open to, again, the diligence, the hard work, the perseverance of delving into yourself, you know, um, exploring your inner workings. Ooh, we do have another page of cups here. Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. Cups is your depth, right? These are emotions, feelings, intuition, spirituality. Like, this is yes. This is what it is. I mean, again, I feel like the advice is to be open to your sensitivity, to step into that relationship with the universe. But here's the thing. If you look at this card, there's a couple of things that are standing out to me. One is there's this energy of like when pigs fly, which I feel like is this kind of inability to see the light, right? Type of thing, or inability to see past negativity as that challenge, right? I feel like this is pointing that out. Like, the advice is be a dreamer, right? Be a dreamer. Believe that things can happen, that magic, if you will, or miracles do take place, and they do. It's just some people's definition of magic is different than, and miracles are different than others' definitions, right? Hollywood will tell you that magic is Harry Potter, okay? And other people feel that magic is how the flowers grow, how the seasons change, how, how they just do their thing. So it really just, depends on your perspective. But I feel as though, there's this energy of be open to the pigs flying, right? Be willing to dream. And not just from a perspective of, maybe belief in God or faith in God or what have you, but like be willing to dream for yourself, right? What is it that you want to create? Because I feel like spirit wants to step into that relationship with you. If you can see here, there's this spiritual or transparent hand that's reaching out, and something is reaching back, right, from the ethers, and they come together and are creating something, right? Don't be afraid to, use your imagination or dream that there's something more. Oh, yes. Open your heart. I was picking that up with that Leo type of energy. Open your heart. The advice is to open your heart. Here's the thing about the Ace of Cups. It can represent this oneness, not just with self, but with the divine, with the angels. And I feel like this is your advice, is like open your heart up to yourself. Don't be afraid of your intuition. Don't be afraid of being intimate. Don't be afraid of love, like deep love for yourself, right? Is, being open to not only giving love, but receiving love, right? And not just from others, but from yourself. And not just from that which we can see, but also from love, love from God, from the angels, from the universe, whatever you call it. Right? Not being afraid of these things, being open to receiving these things and experiencing new feelings, new levels of spirituality and intuition, new levels of intimacy, right? It's about opening your heart, having new hope. And it's interesting that there is this one energy with the ace again, because it's like, this is new beginning. A new beginning is awaiting you. But this is what it's going to take to get there. And, Scorpio, I just want to say before we move forward, it's hard. I want to acknowledge that. It is very difficult because we as human beings are stubborn AF. We don't like change and we don't like to lose things. Even if that's something that is not good for us, right? So that can be a behavior, a habit, you name it, right? We don't like that. And so it's very challenging. And anybody who tells you something else is either incredibly blessed, which, okay, very well, or they're lying to you or they're selling something. That's why a lot of people don't take this on, because it is incredibly challenging. It does require a lot of work. And I don't mean, for the most part, nothing physical necessarily, right? And it's not something that you necessarily have tangible results to show, right? It's not like building a boat or something, right? So here you are doing all of this work, delving into the depths of yourself, going through your emotions, feeling all the things, healing things, facing fears, getting comfortable with your darkness. And there's nothing physical that you can pick up and say, this is what I've been doing. There's no proof of anything other than how you feel and how you experience the world. Certainly over time, others start to experience you differently, and that is certainly something that others can see, but I don't know. I just felt like I needed to say that because, if I feel like if you're struggling, if it is challenging to you, know that you're probably on the right track, right? It's not one of those things where it's like, oh, this is hard, so I shouldn't do it. The only way we grow and evolve and learn is through overcoming obstacles, overcoming challenges, facing these tests, for lack of better terms. That's the only way. If we stay the same, if nothing was a challenge, if it was easy, we wouldn't grow from it. It would just be like, oh, that was interesting. I mean, we wouldn't discover our strengths, whether they be emotional, mental, it doesn't matter. So again, take that as it resonates with you, but I just felt like I should share that. We have here for you Earth Star activation, anchoring, grounded action, and Isis energy. So I do think this is quite fascinating based on the fact that there's this, I feel like, again, the advice is for you to anchor into the truth and take grounded action as you unfold, as you bring these things forward, as you discover these things about yourself, right? It really is, I feel, bringing this wisdom from spirit, right, which you can tap into should you choose, but bringing these things from spirit downward through you. Okay. I also feel like with this Isis energy, this is about bringing all of the pieces of yourself back home, right? The advice here is like, you have this opportunity to bring these pieces back home, right? And through that, you can, be more fulfilled, feel more at home in your body, feel more in your body. For whatever reason, I'm getting the feeling that some of you may not even feel like you're in your body. You may go moment to moment, not even realizing what the hell's going on. Or, you may find yourself kind of like drifting off into, I don't know, like, I don't want to say la la land, but just off in left field, Let me just read a little bit from this card for you. Yeah, I think it's important. So give me just a second. Okay. So it does say here, you guys, this is so wild. So it says, I'm going to read more than I originally intended. So it says the Earth Star chakra, found around 6 to 12 inches below our feet, is the energetic portal that connects us directly with the soul wisdom of Mother Earth. It is our gateway to the underworld of Earth, a space of sacred magic and mystery, where we will find a lot of the tools, gifts, and skills the ancients used to connect with the earth and her wisdom. The Egyptian goddess Isis appears on this card as our spiritual guide. She is a high priestess of the stars who knows the importance of connecting with the underworld to stay grounded, aware, and manifest all that we need to grow. Follow in her footsteps by connecting to your Earth Star. Anchor down and go digging within to find any parts of your magic, wisdom, and experiences you have pushed down, both in this incarnation and in previous lifetimes. These tools could be helpful on the next phase of your journey. When you draw this card, know your Earth Star has been activated, and the wisdom you once ignored is finally being acknowledged. The rejected parts of yourself have now been rediscovered. There is an opportunity for you to rediscover magic too. Yeah, exactly like I was saying. But stay firmly rooted in all of your endeavors. Let the earth hold and sustain you. Don't rush ahead. In fact, if you've been wondering if it's time to move forward, know that it isn't. Stay put for the time being. Important information is about to be revealed, so wait and stand strong. This is a time of integration, there's that word again, and rest rather than pushing forward. Great wisdom lies within you. Dive deep and find it. And trust in yourself. You have more strength than you realize. And I'm getting fear that wants to come up as well. So pardon me, but I feel like, this advice here is just reiterating a lot of what we've already been talking about, really driving it home, right? And I do feel what's interesting is it says, this is a time of integration, and rest rather than pushing forward. Great wisdom lies within you. Dive deep and find it, and trust in yourself. Again, it's less about what physical things and more about sitting still, getting in your body, right? Really allowing yourself to process who you are and what has been awoken within you. Again, should you choose to embark on this journey. You have here as well halls of learning. You cannot make this stuff up. Spirit guides, confirmation, great lessons. So yeah, here's your confirmation if you needed a signier sign, Scorpio. But certainly this is what I was speaking on earlier, right? If we aren't challenged, if we don't go through the things, we don't learn. And that's the point, right? So the advice I feel that's going to best support and serve you is that through this experience, you have the opportunity to learn great lessons, not only about yourself, but also about the universe, the cosmos, God, the world around you, right? I also feel that this is speaking to those guides, because I do feel and felt heavily that connection wants to be created, that divine connection. And whether you believe it or not, Scorpio, we all have a guardian angel. We all have beings that we cannot see who are ever present, who are guiding us, assisting us, doing their best to get our attention and to point us in the right direction, giving us these nudges, okay? And, here's the thing. I feel like there's a need to say our guides, our angels, God, Christ, whatever it is you resonate with, those beings, I'm not sure if I've already said this, probably, but those beings will not force anything. upon us at all, right? It will not do this or else. It will not, it is not a forceful energy. Okay? They will not force you to do anything. That is not where we are in our evolution, in our development, and it's against the rules type of thing. Okay? This is also something I've learned through the work of Rudolf Steiner. Gigi Young has an amazing channel on YouTube where she dives into these topics at length. So you might want to explore that for yourself. I mean, it is learning after all. But, rather, these beings are our guides. They hold us in deep reverence. They move from a space of deep love, and their goal is to support us. Right? To provide for us. Again, whether you take advantage of that or not, whether you ask for that or not, it's completely up to you. Right? Because they will not force. I mean, even with God, you have to pray. You get what I'm saying? You got to kind of like meet them halfway type of thing. But, I just felt like explaining that for whatever reason may be helpful for somebody. Again, feel free to explore this topic, research this topic on your own. I would always encourage anyone to do their own research. You don't have to take my word for it. You are your own person, your own being, and we are in a stage of our development where we're meant to be developing our capital I, or our individuality, which means that there's no guru who can tell us anything. I mean, they can, and there are, how do I say this? Okay. There was a time in our development where we needed a high priestess, a guru, a somebody to activate things within us. We don't need that now. Okay. Certainly there are people all over the world who are providing pieces for each of us, because not one of us can hold everything. At least not, and we are in such a dense space that we can't, a lot of us can't grasp everything, right? Like we need other containers, if you will, to hold some of the weight. So, there are people who can essentially give and provide information, but essentially it is up to you to activate that within you, to integrate it, to utilize it, right? To acknowledge it, and you're going to do whatever you want with it. So, use your discernment. And, if you decide to research, these topics for yourself, I wouldn't be opposed to it. I would encourage it. But yeah, I feel like, for you, Scorpio, this is, it has potential. Okay. And please do remember, like, this is where we're planting seeds, where we're having to take up these challenges with complete faith and trust in ourselves, and to not allow our fears to limit us or hold us back. Like, that's the one energy, right? And so we want to be intentional, because if we're sinking into fear, right, we can manifest those too. We're planting seeds, and those seeds will eventually come to harvest. So, I mean, it's there for you, should you choose to step into it. But again, we're planting seeds. Okay. So it's that slow down type of energy. It's that get intentional type of energy. It is that do not limit yourself type of energy, and, be an active co-creator in your own reality. But of course, it is your choice. So, Scorpio, that is what I have for you for the month of December 2023. I pray that something here has been helpful for you, or valuable for you in some way, shape, or form, and assists you in some way in navigating your month and your own journey. If something here has resonated for you, please do the YouTube things by liking, sharing, commenting below, or subscribing. It tells YouTube that there may be something valuable here for someone else, and I really love when people are connected with information that's valuable to them. So I greatly, greatly appreciate that. It also helps me as an intuitive as well. So again, I greatly, greatly appreciate you. Take care of your growing, evolving, strong, courageous, divine soul. I pray that through this month you are able, or at the very least, I pray that you are able to be open to the truth of your being, however that looks for you. I pray that you are able to integrate the information that is most valuable and important for your own unfolding, your own evolution, and that you are able to connect with the depths of yourself and feel far more comfortable opening up and being vulnerable with yourself and those around you. Take care of yourself. Have a beautiful, beautiful month. Peace be with you and within you. And I hope to see you on another video. Bye.